Leafs talk. All right, it's win night.
Well, it's Bunkis and Sam McKee. Justin Border occasionally. Buckle up, 'cause it's a battle of wits. So if you're hungry for hockey, you gotta listen to this. After every game. After every game.
It's Leafs talk. JD Bunkis, Sam McKee. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at JD Bunkis, at Sammy McKee, and hit the thumbs up if you're watching this live on YouTube right now. Subscribe and review. Do all those things. Fun one tonight. A nightmare for you and I personally watching Ovi score 2 goals, but
we can't start there. We'll get there.
Of course,
We can't
I'm
start
starting there. I said it was a nightmare for us watching him pot 2. You and I are both extremely committed, very publicly, to this guy not breaking the goal scoring record. But the Leafs won, and I thoroughly enjoyed this hockey game. It was a sloppy hockey game, but it was one hell of an entertaining one. I was glued.
I will say that I love my beloved Sportsnet and I love my beloved teammates, but they sent out a tweet that it's like the goal scoring GOAT scores a goal. It's like, no, he is not the GOAT. The man who is the GOAT at scoring the goals has the most goals of all time. He's still 49 ahead. Ovechkin is not the GOAT. There is literally a man with 49 more goals than Ovechkin. So please do not call him the GOAT of goal scoring, because he is literally not that yet. Maybe he'll get there.
That.
When he scores 895, we can talk about him being the GOAT, but not right now, boys and girls. Not right now. He ain't the GOAT yet.
Yeah, I know there's somebody screaming right now doing the kind like, it's a harder era to score goals. Nobody cares.
I'm not having it.
Yeah,
not
nobody
having it.
cares. Nobody cares. If he misses it,
scoreboard, ladies and gentlemen, scoreboard.
brother,
Point up there.
If he misses it by 1, I'll never bend the knee. To
Ever.
I'll never bend the knee. I'll never have a single day where I admit that Ovi was the best goal scorer of all
I
time.
thought he got the 49 away tonight. I guess the
Yeah.
second one was to get him to 50, or was it? Or is
Pretty sure
Jobo
it's
right now
49.
wrong?
I think it's 50
Okay.
from the record, 49 from Ty.
Okay. The second one's
Anyways.
to get to 50. Okay. Anyways, he's getting closer. He's getting precariously closer.
Yeah, he is. He's getting
Yeah.
real close. He's getting real close.
And he's shameless. He's shameless.
Oh, we are starting with this.
This guy's firing back foot off fadeaways from the top of the, like, no chance of going in. Like, he's done this a lot in his career. I get it. Like, I clearly understand that he shot a lot, and that's been but right now, combined with the slowed down nature, it's going to be a tough visual here for a few years, because the Caps, they're going to stink.
Nobody will
and their whole team is going to be like, their whole point of their team is to get him this record. And that's what their identity is going to be, the goal chase record team. And that's it. So enjoy it.
Yeah,
Anyways,
I mean, they had won 3 going into tonight, but I will say, I know it's not everything, and I know it's not a stat that people really care about anymore, but I think Ovi going into this game was a minus 22 or a minus 23. Like
I care about the high and low end of it. I've always said that about plus minus. I think the high and low end of plus minus, it's a very fine stat. Like, if you're plus 3 or minus 3 or whatever for the full season, I don't think it's as telling. Yeah. But if you're a plus 30 or a minus 21, for example, like Ovechkin, it's telling. But we
let this get so personal tonight, starting here and doing this.
I know. I'm sorry. Sorry,
but
everybody.
I will say, buddy, we did get some tweets at us, and I got some messages. And
yeah, me too.
You and I both, when it happened, it was no,
painted in a corner.
Both of us just completely crushed. The first one is, since we're here anyways, let's just wrap it up. Because then we'll get into all the positive Leaf stuff, because there was a lot of good stuff tonight. Domi, he's the story of the game.
Absolutely.
Obviously. Him and Matthews, just awesome stuff. But the first one is just, he's taken a little bit of a brain dead penalty where he can't exit the zone. He's playing with the puck a little bit too long, and you'll see that from Knives for once in a while. The Leafs are just bad at breaking pucks out, and that's just the way it goes sometimes. This is just the actual goal itself on the power play that we're running here, but I'm talking about like him drawing the actual like giving up the power play. The next one though, and sorry, this is my closing thought. Benoit fans on a puck to clear the zone, and then on the second goal, he stuffs it into his own bench.
What was this?
I have no idea what the hell this was. Watching Benoit essentially give Ovechkin 2 goals tonight has changed the way I feel about Benoit. I'm done with him being a fan favorite. It's over for me. I was all excited about TJ Brody getting scratched, and then Benoit did this, which is like, that's shacked in a fool. What do we do? What is that? Like, what is that? I don't know how I've ever seen that before. That is outrageous. Just skating the puck into your own bench, into their own feet, and it turns it over to the grade 8. Benoit's out for me. Benny the Butcher, you're dead to me. It's over. I bring back Brody. He wouldn't do that.
I can't agree with you on all that, but it was definitely like seeing your son do something really bad.
Oh, it was painful, man. I was like, no, son.
Like, oh, no. But that's a guy, what he's doing on that play, that's a guy who's pressing for ice time. And he's like, I got to do good stuff. And he's carrying the puck up. And he's like, oh, my God, I can't be doing this. This is bad. And then he gets caught in between all those guys on skates. And bing, Ovechkin back in the net. But,
dude, you know what that reminded me of? Him just like as though he was like falling asleep driving. And then he woke up like, oh my God, I'm driving. I'm driving.
It's like the guy that crashed into my parked car on Jane Street. He's like, oh, my God.
Exactly. That was him as that puck started to go the other way. And he was just reaching back, trying to fish to basically put the toothpaste back in the tube. Okay, so the biggest takeaway from tonight, Matthews gets robbed of a hat trick because of old review, and we've said it now 20 times. As soon as the challenge comes in, it's done. It's no longer up for debate unless it's goaltender interference. You know it's over, right? Like it's going the other way. Bertuzzi doesn't drag his feet. All I could think of with the missing the hat trick, though, was, man, he got into a great spot. It was a great play created by Domi to keep the play alive here at the point. But how funny it must have been for the fans that threw their hats and got all excited, getting just burned by fans on the road. You know what I mean? Like, you're on the road and you throw your hat and you celebrate that hat trick, and you must have been getting torn up by any funny Capitals fans around you.
I said a tweet. I'm like, I'd be so sour if I threw my hat. Like now you just got to go around the rest of the night, dirty old hat head. If you're a follically challenged gentleman like my brother with no hair,
if you're a bald guy, that's the worst.
You're like just going around no hat. Like, I had a hat, I threw it. Hat trick? Oh no, it's a long story.
Yeah, dude, it's actually tough, even if you're a Leaf fan that wasn't wearing a hat, because you got to walk around the arena during the intermission, and everybody's like, "Where's your hat?" And you're like, "I didn't even bring a hat. I wasn't. I look at my hair. I was obviously not wearing a hat. Just opened you up for it." But I'll tell you this. Here's my prevailing thought from the game. Domi can play with good players. He can play with Austin Matthews. He does a really good job at replicating some of what Mitch Marner can do. You and I have been crying for it all season long, but it really did make me wish, and I texted this in our group chat with you, Bourne and I, but it really did make me wonder what the Leafs would look like with just even a halfway capable third offensive center that they could use, so that they could find a way to just experiment with splitting up the big three.
Because I've clearly been thinking about this throughout the whole game, because I love the way Domi and Matthews are playing together. There is a undeniable chemistry when those two guys are on the ice. They look awesome together. There was just a lot of talk at the start of the preseason where they were going to try Willie at center. And it was a long conversation, and it was remember, he's like, we're going to really give it a try here. And then they did half a preseason game, and then they never went back to it. In these games, I
can't believe how much I talked about on my show. Actually, I'm pretty embarrassed about it in hindsight.
No, it's crazy. Yeah. But like in these games here, down the stretch where they're meaningless, like we've been talking about, if you're going to be tinkering with all this crap anyway, when Marner gets healthy, try Marner and Nylander at center, and try it, and try to go 1, 2, 3 with Matthews on the top line, Marner and Nylander together, and Tavares as your third line center. And if you want to have them all three, like you're not necessarily splitting them all up, but it's three centers down the middle, and Nylander's a natural center. There's always been this talk. That's the only thought that I had instead. And I heard you talking with Myrtle today about how it was a miss to not get a real center like the Henrique thing or whatever, which is a great point. And it's one that's really stuck out to me when I've seen Domi and Matthews' chemistry. But if you really want to get nuclear here, try Nylander at center again. Probably won't work, but give it a go with Marner.
Yeah, I can't imagine that you'd ever trust that come playoff time. You know what I mean? Like
Maybe not.
It's
But if you
impossible
have
for me
Marner
to
out there
even-
who's a way more defensive, responsible guy, you put somebody else in the other wing. Listen, I'm just grasping at straws to keep Domi and Matthews together. And there's always been this flirtation of trying Nylander at center. You've got these pointless games. See if it works down the stretch. That's my only thought.
I think that, first of all, they scored with what, 14 seconds in the hockey game tonight? So they just come out and it's just guns ablaze and boom, boom.
Yeah.
The Domi pass to him is underrated. Like,
It's a great play.
Great play, dude. Like, goes and makes it happen. The one that should have been a hat trick, it's Domi. What? Like, he was just buzzing tonight. He was everywhere. And this is what we've been saying. He's the kind of guy that you clearly have to give a meaningful offensive role to if you're going to have him at all. It never made sense to have Max Domi toiling away on a third line that was going to be playing 11 minutes a night and giving him, like, this guy played with David Kampf this year. Look how badly he loves to make plays. Look how good he is at making plays. The way he reads the puck in the offensive zone, the way that he's just able to, like, make these beautiful pillow passes. Bang, dude. Yeah. That's nasty stuff. So kudos to Domi for sticking with it. Never complained, never really showed frustration at any moment. You and I both have our gripe with him, which is we think that he should shoot the puck more and that he's never going to be the zone exit king. You know, he's always going to struggle in the board battles in the defensive zone, gets hemmed in. It looks ugly sometimes, but boy, if you're not playing for anything down the stretch here other than health, right? You're in the full dog days. It sucks. It sucks. It sucks. I don't know how Sheldon Keefe could possibly not want to continue to experiment with this look. Like, keep this rolling, baby. Keep Max Domi up with Austin Matthews and let it run.
Yeah. And even if you're going to stick, like, this is the problem, right? Then what you brought it up is that if you want to play Domi with Matthews and Marner when they come back, which to me really feels like it could be a perfect line, then you're a center short. So that's the only reason I thought about the Nylander thing. But yeah, man, I thought Bertuzzi, once he got onto the ice, and we can mention that a little bit later in a more of a rapid fire thing.
Yeah.
I thought he was impactful. I thought he was impactful when he got out there. So he ends up scoring on an unbelievable pass from Matthews. It's clearly that, you know, Matthews was playing with Holmberg and Bertuzzi there, and there was zero chemistry or whatever. Like, I think we all have
no good.
No, stop that. But it's pretty clear, like, we all have the narrative about, oh, he needs Marner, and oh, people love to say that or whatever. But, like, he needs some skill in his line. Like, it's like any good goal scorer, any good player wants to play with another good guy who can snap it around to them. Bertuzzi and Holmberg just weren't doing it. Like, they just weren't getting him the puck in the right spots. He still found a way to score a little bit. But God, if you're watching on Sportsnet Plus and YouTube, that's such an amazing pass.
So nice.
It just shows you that Domi has the skill level to play with these guys. And when he's playing with a guy like Matthews, you kind of hide some of the parts of his games that you don't like.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah, I totally agree. Anyway, I had a thought tonight watching it where I actually really like Tavares with Nyes and McMahon, like having him with the two jobbers and the guys who just go and chop and dig and, you know, go in the corners and dig it and go get it for him. I actually like Bertuzzi playing with Nylander ultimately, even though now it's pretty clear Bertuzzi's just going to fit everywhere and look awesome for you in the postseason. This was always the take. Why I'm so glad again. I never wavered, despite all the struggles. Thank God.
We thought about wavering. We did. We thought we had some nights after some of those dark ones where we're like, I want to love this guy, but it's hard. We had a few of those nights, but we never fully went. Like, Gunnar called him Clarkson at one point. So it's like, oh boy, we don't have that one on the old record. So
the guy who gets super mad and boils over about everything in 2 seconds had a bad take. Shocked. I'm blown away.
Sorry, Gunnar. I know you love the show. Sorry.
Yeah, that's all. That's said with love. Yeah, I did think it would be cool to get actually even a look at a Marner Matthews Domi line, and just show me what it looks like at some point. The last point I'm going to say about Domi too, and we're doing too much of a gush fest, but hell, this is Leafs talk and it's after a win, so let me gush. Yeah, when he dances over does that little dance over on the Bertuzzi goal, he's just happy. I feel like out of all the guys that have been on the Leafs in the last 8 seasons,
Mhm.
he's got to be one of the top dressing room, locker room guys that they've got going. Like, it just seems like all his teammates love him. I've met him a
Mhm.
couple of times. He seems like a good guy. Like the
Mhm.
interactions that I've had with him, which have been brief and minor, but he just seems to have the right kind of pick up the teammates' energy, happy, good vibes type of player. Like, there's something about it. I think that if you're talking about the Leafs, if you're worried about the Leafs getting too tight in playoff matchups, having a guy like that who plays with that kind of energy and the passion is important to
Mhm.
me. It's not everything, but I'm giving it a slight import.
Absolutely. I think,
Yeah.
buddy, there's any like I've known Domi's game over his whole career. Clearly, I've watched him
Mhm.
play a ton of hockey, but not every single night on the team that you follow.
Yep.
And I think I've finally kind of gotten to the comfort zone where I know exactly what he is. I know what he can bring. I
Yep.
understand his role. And I just really love the kind of stuff he brings. Think of the guys he's gone after this year. He went after Gudis. He went
Mhm.
after Marchand. He went after Sam Bennett. He got the wheels beat off him by Sam Bennett, but good on him. He
Sure
went
did.
after him.
Yeah.
And he tried to do the head rub thing after where he was
Yeah.
making fun of him for being
Yeah.
bald, which is great chirp. Great
That
chirp. Can't
that
hate on
was
that
what
one.
everybody was doing.
Yeah.
All the Capitals fans were doing
Yeah.
all the bald Leaf fans tonight. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
They're
They were
getting
patting
it.
them on their little bald
Yeah.
heads after they threw their hat.
Yeah.
So I'm fully down for a Domi Gush Fest, man. I've come to like him a lot, and I would like to see him be here past this season. Like I like him a lot. He's a good player, and I understand his game, and I've completely accepted the faults, and I'm ready to embrace this guy come playoff time.
Yeah. I just think if you're going to re-sign him, it does have to be with the thought long-term of being like, okay, you're probably not going to trust him at center. And maybe he
Yeah.
does have that role come playoff time. Maybe that's going to happen, whether it's because of an injury or just the way that they try to balance the lines ultimately. But yeah, if you can find a way to have him playing in your top 6 and giving him some time out at the wing and having him sort of be flexible with some of these other dudes, I think it would
Mhm.
be a great signing for this team. And I would imagine, given the last contract, that this is a guy who gets it and is probably not going to try and break the team bank for a contract. My guess is he's not going to do a video after he signs a record-breaking contract and say that it was always Ontario and that he loved Ontario and he would have never considered anywhere else, even though he took them all the way for as much money as he could possibly get.
Yeah, I
Probably
would
wouldn't do
imagine
one
he
of
wouldn't
those.
do that. I mean, he did play for the Knights,
Who
so he
would
might.
do that? I don't know, but
I mean, he played for the Knights. That's what they teach him down there in London. So maybe that's why he would have done that.
Yeah,
Anyways,
I mean, there is a precedent. I gotta say, okay. Do you want to do like a bunch? There's a bunch of things from this. Do you want to do Matthews? Like, is there anything to say? Like, he's awesome.
well,
Yeah.
I
What do you
think,
want?
yeah, he's great. He's great. And it was nice to see him look great again because we
Feel
had
bad for him.
we had a couple weeks there where it was
Yeah.
he had the flu and it felt like it was like that flu was stretching out a little bit.
Yep.
The flu had gone on a bit there, and it's nice just to see him look dominant, and he looked dominant tonight. And I think he gets it. He's playing against
Mhm.
Ovi. He's in Ovi's building. He scores 2. He should have had 3. He looked really pumped up about that third one. Matters
Yep.
to him. So I like to see him rise to the occasion like that. You think the one in Chicago where he's doing the ear stuff when they played Kane, he always rises to the occasion against McDavid. Like, he gets it. So I like the flair for the dramatic. But
Yep.
if I had to say my favorite thing from this game tonight would be the way they flipped the switch from last night and flipped the narrative from the crappy starts to periods to
Mhm.
completely changing that and having great starts to periods where
Yep.
they score in the first minute and they score at the start of the second period and they're locked in to start these periods. They score at the end of the second too to kind of put it away. Domi shoots one off McCabe and in. Domi from McCabe feel like I'm back in 2001 here all of a sudden, but yeah, it's nice. I like the way they flipped the script from last night, where that was one of the things that pissed me off was the attention to detail at the start of the game. Second half of a back-to-back. I know it's not the prettiest one, but they get them early and it kind of puts them to bed. I was impressed by that.
Yeah. I did like just even too that there were some sloppy moments from the Leafs tonight. Like, let's
For
not
sure.
sugarcoat it. There definitely were, but to me, it was more so than the early goals. It was the fact that they responded right away and just went, no, we're not letting you up. Like you're feeling like you're gonna be back in this game, Washington, and bang, bang.
Mhm.
It was always a response from them, which is good. I agree with you about the Matthews stuff. He really does. he's done a better job. I know that obviously they got called out after the Colorado game, and that was a tough one in terms of just getting the break speed off of him by the opposing top line. He does a good job, I think, in general of getting up for games like this in the regular season. The problem, if I was going to say if there is one, and I don't want to overly illustrate this when, he had a 5-point night and he was +4 and great, is that to me, it's like you just need to see it against the Bruins in those hard matchups where he doesn't fade away in
100%.
those ones, right? It's like that's
100%.
the one where you want to see it, and
Bruins and
ones are
Panthers,
nice,
basically.
Yeah, that's it. Right. Exactly right. We've seen it against Ovi. We've seen it against McDavid. We saw it the last game against Colorado, and now you just kind of want to see it. You won't be able to this
Saw it
year
against Tampa. Saw it against Tampa in the first round last year, where he finally kind of broke through against them, and he was great. But it's those 2 teams, really. It's really Boston and Florida.
I will say, though, that there's an added layer to Boston for me just because of the psychological stuff. There's enough people around hockey that are smart that have told me that they think it's a thing. Enough people who've played the game, coached the game, I can't ignore it. I can't say that it's all just a nothing burger, and that, I want to see it. I want to see it.
But that's who wouldn't think that's a thing? Is there somebody who doesn't think that's a thing?
I think that it's okay. Can I tell you? I think that it's probably a little bit of an overplayed thing, actually. And so sometimes the zag is to say it's not a thing, and then you end up with those two things. I'm not trying to strawman. That's my position. Here's my other thought from tonight, though, because Matthews was awesome. I never really bought the whole he needs Marner stuff. I just think, guys, when you're a massive goal scorer who can rip up that many, anytime you go through a couple games without one, people tend to overreact a little bit. The Bruins stuff was, I think, clear and obviously tough. There was the flu excuse. You're right. It went a little long. So it was worth talking about. But ultimately, I think there's enough of a track record of Austin Matthews that he's going to score with you and I out there. He's going to find ways to put pucks in the back of the net. The thing that is surprising me as of right now is the guy who continues to be their best player. Well, not best, but numerically 5-on-5 expected goals for in March, who now has 7 points in his last 3 games. Nice little goal tonight. The captain, John Tavares, he's looking good, man. He's looking like he's got his confidence back, which is shout out to Christopher Stieg, who does my pod, every couple of weeks. And he kept saying it over and over again. Hey, you guys keep saying this guy lost a step. It's always the wrong take with Tavares. His skating was never that strong. It's a confidence issue. It's a confidence issue. Lo and behold, he starts putting some points up, and he looks like same old self, John Tavares.
That's a nice goal. If you're watching,
that's a pretty goal
off the skate, right back to the backhand, top corner, opposite side. Love that from him. Yeah, and this is when
all the goals are pretty.
Yeah, Leafs were just flex. No, they were flexing tonight, big time. At least we're showing off. The ugly one was the Domi one off McCabe, kind of filtered.
That one pretty. That one was.
It's nice to see Tavares come around here, and I think if you look at the schedule, it's, you talk about how it's not that he's lost a step, but he's getting up there. Yeah. And there's been it was a bit of a quieter stretch there for a while.
For sure.
Like they went and they played that crazy stretch of games where they played the 4 in the week, and was it 7 and 10, like in 11 nights? It was a crazy stretch that they had. And they, now that they've kind of slowed down the schedule since that break, I think Tavares has really improved. And to me, going down the stretch here, I think it's a chance, if you're kind of like we've talked about how you're set in stone, if you're kind of playing a couple second half of back-to-backs or whatever, like wouldn't mind him getting another night off here or there. Nothing like a healthy scratch like they did with TJ Brody, but just he's the type of guy to me that can really, he's like, who was the guy on 6 days rest or 5 days rest? Like the difference was it Gosman that on the 6 days rest, he was unbelievable. 5 days rest, he wasn't quite as good. It was somebody last year with the Jays. I think it was maybe Gosman. I can't remember. Anyways.
Yeah, I
can't remember either. Really,
I remember it was the actual opposite with what's his name, Ryu.
Yeah, but he's noticeably better with a better rest. Yeah. Like noticeably better, more pop in his game. And you think about when the playoffs start, I think the season ends on the Wednesday or the Thursday, and then they probably won't play again till Monday. So it's a nice long break for them heading into that start of the playoffs. I'm just really hoping to get Tavares as much rest as possible for the playoffs, because there's no denying that when he's rested, he's a much more effective player. He was awesome again tonight. And he was good last night, I thought, too. He had moments last night where I thought he was really good. So good back-to-back for the captain.
To me, I think personally, we over concern ourselves a little bit with rest. I definitely
Yeah.
agree with you that the course of a season wears down older players, but
Yeah.
for me, Tavares, it is. I think a big part of it was a confidence issue that he's been down on himself at years, and the doubt probably does creep in a little bit differently as you age in professional sports. How could it not?
Mhm.
Especially when he's starts to get taken off the power play, right? And he's a victim of those kind of scenarios. But the other thing
Yep.
too is he's probably not as good of a player, but he's getting better matchups and he's feasting on the matchups. And that's one of the things that you were always hoping for with John Tavares. That was always supposed to be the play that the Leafs had with these two at center, was that you couldn't just match up with one of them. The other one was going to end up feasting. And
Yep.
so far, this last little stretch for Tavares, been that stretch being March, which we're now 20 games into, he's been brilliant 5-on-5. So
Yeah.
guy deserves a bunch of credit. If you get this version of him night in, night out with that kind of impact, you're going to have a much better shot at winning, and it's going to make your formula look a lot better. Okay. Anything else for you? Rapid fire.
Well, I don't know. You probably get more into this on your pod tomorrow. We'll probably talk about it a little bit more length on Real Kipper and Born. It's a bigger picture, but the scratch of Brody and Timmins coming in. I know I didn't really notice Timmins a lot.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, for sure. I think a guy that hasn't played in, was it 2 months, guy that's had mono, guy that hasn't been able to get into the lineup, not noticing him is an ideal scenario. But to me, I didn't miss TJ Brody a whole lot. I'm sure. Well, you're gonna say what? Because of the
worst player.
Yeah, I know. He was not great. He still ended up a +1, I guess. Like
He literally put 2 pucks in the back of the net. One with a wave on an exit, and the other one on an exit that he skated in his own bench. Anyway, I did notice Benoit actually a couple times tonight in not great ways, and
he's pressing.
Listen, what?
He's pressing. He's pressing because he wants to stay in the lineup bad, and he's pressing.
Of course,
it's happened. He's not playing the same game he was when he was playing well for the Leafs.
Bro, I've loved. Listen, you and I have been the Benoit show all year long.
Yeah,
I think it's fair to mention that he wasn't very good tonight, and I listen. They had to take TJ Brody out. I saw somebody's tweet. Again, I'd love to give him credit, but I didn't, and I forgot to actually write it down and look into it myself and double check the numbers. But pretty sure that if you go with the 3 guys that he's played the most minutes with this season, with him playing with them, the expected goals goes down. And whenever they remove Brody, it goes up. And part of that is definitely unfair because it's situational, right? Brody plays a lot of matchups. So whenever he's playing with any of those guys, he's likely getting more difficult matchups and playing stronger offensive players. And that's the part of it that you can't quantify is the situation on those. It's not like DVOA in football. It's just not a perfect stat. But listen, man, he's been fighting it. He's looked pretty dreadful. And I really don't mind.
Really bad.
I really don't mind the coach, even just from a mental standpoint, going, "Hey, man, take a beat." Well, you're not obviously you're going to be on the team. Like it's not gonna he's not going to be gone forever, but he's going to get there. So anyway, it was Nylander Hughes that tweeted that apparently from Jobo.
What a handle! Yeah. What a handle!
Those are usually the handles of people that
I mute.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the Bertuzzi thing weird.
Well, I mean, until we get an explanation.
Has there been anything, Jobo? I don't know if Keith has spoken yet.
Joe, keep an eye out for that in the post game because that definitely was weird. Here's what I will say. A lot of
my Zapruder film tweet.
No, what was it?
So I was watching at the start of the game, and I just during the anthem, right before they did the moment of silence for Chris Simon, the trainer came up to Keefe, and him and Keefe had like this somewhat spirited conversation right before the game starts, which to me is a little bit weird. Like I don't know why, it was just like he came over to him, he was kind of like using his hands, talking to him a bit, like it was a little bit spirited. So I don't know if it was a equipment issue. He did something to his groin in warm up or did something to his knee in warm up. Maybe he had the trots. Maybe the trainer saw him, I don't know, do something bad in the back. Maybe he was hacking a dart in the shower and the trainer saw it and he told him. I don't know what happened, but it just was a little bit of a weird start to the game where he was kind of talking to him. But I don't know.
I'm looking at it now.
Keith says Bert was feeling under the weather. Why he
Okay.
started late.
Looked fine, but yeah, that's okay. Maybe he did. Maybe he trots. Like that's what I would think.
He
I'm,
had the craps.
yeah.
Bad
listen,
shellfish.
I'm glad that he actually said something because I thought that there was nothing more infuriating today than watching the Philly media try to ask John Tortorella about the actual scratching of Couturier, only for him to be furious at them about it for even asking and going, it's not about the team, it's between me and Sean, and everybody shut up and nobody even talk to me about it. It's what are you guys doing here? Why are you even trying to do it? Like, give me the heebie-jeebies, man. It's honestly was one of the I can't stand the guy. Cannot stand the guy. It was awful look.
Oh, that was one of the most absurd things ever. Like, first of all,
he makes it about him, and then he's like, "What are you doing?
The
Making it all about me?"
Yeah, you didn't scratch Bobby Brink, bud. You scratched the captain.
Ugh.
So
just the way he looks at people, though, like with the contempt and the disgust to media members who are asking about the biggest story in Philly hockey, and like the way he stares them down and looks at them like they're subhuman is abhorrent behavior. Like, I just think that you should at least give your respect on the job, to do that with someone, to treat them that way. I think anyway, I don't care how much he likes dogs and the troops. I hate that stuff.
I was going to say he's Babcock who likes dogs. That's what it is. The last thing I wanted to bring up is that I sent a tweet about this. So I want to bring it up with you. The Washington Capitals started the evening in a playoff spot.
Yeah.
And we're talking about expansion.
Yeah.
It's like, are you kidding me? That team stinks. Yeah. And like, I don't want to take away anything from the Leafs tonight because I thought their big guys rose to the occasion and that team's, fighting for a playoff spot and they're desperate and, their Leafs are on the second half of back-to-back, whatever. But God, they are awful. And their goaltender that was supposed to be one of the hottest guys in the league was no good. Like I was stunned by how bad they were for a lot of that game.
I think I've, joked about this with you before. I'm sure I have, but so like when I played hockey, I was a goalie for, Team Yukon for a little while. And it's like, that's a travel team. And so, we would go and we would play teams from BC and from Alaska and from, Alberta, and they would just pump us, like we'd get on a bus ride for 30 hours just to be food for somebody. And it was horrific. But that I felt for Charlie Lindgren because that was the Bunkis special, was like 7 goals and looking at the bench being like, now, and then being like, no.
Yeah, why didn't they pull him? That's crazy. They didn't pull him.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I was like, that's the only time I'll ever relate to an NHL player is watching him let in 7 and not get the mercy of getting to skate off. It was like, okay, that's good stuff. Anyway, all right. Anything else for you?
I'm trying to think if there's anything glaring that we missed. No, we started off hot, hammering Ovi, and then finished off hot by talking about how crappy his team is. Oh, yes. No, I did have something. I'm glad I remembered. We have given Kyle Dubas a lot of crap over our careers, but I'm telling you right now, the last trade deadline that he was here, he made by far the best trade of his career, getting a first-round pick for Rasmus Sandin, who then they signed for a absurd contract. And then the Leafs took Easton Cowan, which was not Dubas, so you can't give him credit for that. But the Leafs got Easton Cowan, who was one of the best prospects in the league, and they traded him for Rasmus Sandin. That is probably, no, not probably. That is most definitely Dubas' best trade as Leafs general manager.
Really tough bar to go over for him.
Yeah, I mean, I know. Hey, listen, I'm turning a new leaf.
This is actually a good way for me to promote my podcast tomorrow because I already did my taped interview. Tomorrow I have Mike Bibby and I have Dave Damashek.
Bibby, love that. Zona.
Yeah, Bibby, it's college basketball time. And anyways, Bibby was like a hero of mine growing up, right?
For sure.
He was a point guard hero. I loved Mike Bibby. So that was one where it's a little, nerve-wracking. You get ready for those ones because you put yourself back into boy shoes where you're like, I was reading about you in Slam magazine. And
that's the first that's the first March Madness game I ever watched was that final. What year was that? I don't know when that was.
That's 97.
Yeah, so that was the first one I ever watched.
Yeah. So 97 is when same with me. It was the first time they beat 3-1 seeds. I was a little kid. My uncle went to Arizona University, so we were like tuned in for Zona. But with Damashek, I had him on because I want to talk, Steelers QBs and Pittsburgh's situation, and I want to talk Kyle Dubas with him and Sid and get into everything. And we were all over the map. Great conversation.
He's the man. Yeah,
dude, he's the best. He's one of my favorite guests. I highly suggest people listening to the interview. Like I really, really enjoyed it. Damashek is great. but we get into Dubas and yeah. I would say that Damashek is the face of Pittsburgh sports. It's him and Jersey Jerry. Like, but Jersey Jerry's not on the Pens, you know? Like Jersey Jerry's just Pittsburgh Steelers, blue collar, no doubt about it. But yeah, it's Damashek. I don't know if Pittsburgh's pretty stoked about it after like the Gensel thing. I think got into bringing in Bunting. That's a tease. I don't think everybody was like, oh, good.
This is what we got.
Yeah,
Bunting was good. He had a couple good games in a row though, so maybe that trade will be a stroke of genius.
Listen, Bunting. I think Bunting was better when you got him for $1 million. All right, what do we got?
Thanks.
Let's wrap up.
Thanks, Jobo.
Oh yeah,
the reminder.
Nice we had to talk about. Yeah, good job.
Thank you.
Chat.
Slash him in the face. Slash him in the face on purpose, 100%.
Yeah, great.
He just slashed him in the mouth.
Yeah. Hey, guess what? Tom Wilson has a pretty long track record of getting mad and doing dumb stuff, and put this on the list.
Oh, just buries him from behind, and then bang! Oh my god!
Got to tell you too, if you're Gregor, you're almost like, just knock my teeth out. Don't break them. You know. Now I got to go through. Just awful. I hope that they're not in too bad a shape, but that is just vicious, dude. And yes, clearly, I don't think he does it on purpose in the sense of he wants to, get it right across his face like that. But I think he's being reckless with the stick because he's frustrated and he's taking a hack at him. But it's the same thing with Morgan Riley in the sense of, I think it runs a little high, the stick higher than he anticipated. That's why right away he grabs me. He's like, oh my God, I'm sorry. But then it was funny too, because he is looking at the ref being like, he did something too. It's like, buddy, you smashed him in the face.
What did he do?
Whole swing. Yeah. Nothing.
I think I wouldn't mind old Willie sitting one for that, maybe. I think he could maybe sit one.
Hey, listen, it's the big thing, the big hullabaloo down at the NHL GME is we're making fun of these guys all week, just getting their awesome vacation time, making it seem like it's for the betterment of the game. Is no more legs over the boards. They're just like, oh, that was the amount of conversations I had with hockey fans being like, we got to get rid of legs over the boards. Like we just can't have it anymore. This is a scourge of our game. They did that. I honestly looked at it like, is this the Onion? Is this, am I getting pranked? Is someone doing a fight? Is it okay? Apparently there's going to be maybe some LTIR stuff down the line. So they're at least starting the car. But the big news was that basically everybody took Peros into a room and just went to town on what a horrible job he does. So yeah, maybe Peros just gives the game here. I don't know. It just do whatever you want. Player suspensions at this point are so infuriating. I don't think there's any rhyme or reason. I think it's the dumbest department ever. I think it's awful that everybody involved, the complainers, the people who get angry, Peros, the teams bitching about it. Do whatever you want. I'm out. I'm tapped out. Like, do whatever you want. Suspend him for life. I don't care.
I don't know. They should just, but like they made the toughest guy the suspension guy. Maybe they should make like a guy who got hit all the time the suspension guy. Like what's Dean McCammon up to? Like, can he do it? He used to just get buried by guys all the time.
Yeah,
like
Labushkin is going to be the future head of
Labushkin just sitting there being like, 4 games.
This one bad too. Yeah. Okay, let's wrap up. Let's get out of here. It's a long one. And we're back for a double dip this weekend. Of course, they have 2 games during March Madness first weekend.
I forgot about that.
I hope whoever scheduled the Sunday game for first weekend of March Madness is put in prison for life, and we never hear
that is brutal.
Jail for Carolina Hurricanes at 6 p.m. Jail, just horrible stuff.
Yeah, scheduled loss for the Leafs after a Saturday night game against the Oilers, like 6 o'clock puck drop.
I'm telling you right now, Sammy, if you start doing, oh yeah, I forgot at the end of those episodes.
Hey, it's Oilers on Saturdays.
Yeah, big and guess what? Leafs Oilers is so sexy that it's like I won't even I'll be fine. I'll be fine with my 2.5 days of March Madness. Settle in for some hockey breakup. Watch McDavid and Matthews go head to head. But yeah, Carolina Hurricanes on a Sunday when I'm just trying to enjoy my Sunday March Madness is offensive to me. I just
get ready for a 7-minute Leaf talk that night, fans.
Yeah, enjoy. Subscribe and review. All right, we'll see you Saturday for the Oilers game.